hell is that? That's the chief.
Wake me up when September ends.
Hello and welcome back once again, my friends, pioneers of werewolves, divergence, and glitches, to another episode of the Daily Candle Close News. Sending you all much love and high vibrations out to wherever it is you are in the matrix and galaxy today. Certainly hope that you are doing well. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear with the music in the background. I don't want to drown out the importance of this video. September, wake me up when September ends. National Preparedness Month and the 4th anniversary of this tradition that we've brought forth to you all for the last few years. The importance of the worst performing month in Bitcoin's price action. And, well, the last 9 Labor Day sales we have got. Let's go. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about a lot. So I hope you've gotten yourself aligned with being here with us today. You've got your favorite snacks, your favorite drink. You're going to sit back and relax and get ready to soak in the knowledge, the gnosis, and the wisdom that Coach A, the Master Chief of Crypto, the first inductee into the Crypto Hall of Fame and the Wheezy F of Crypto, has got to share with you today. Let's go. Can I get a hello, pioneers? I hope you're doing well. I'm sending your love vibrations out to wherever you are. Let's go. Alright, so Labor Day, pioneers, is here. September 1st, and a time we have been waiting on, because we are now 6 days away from Uranus stationed in retrograde, something we have trademarked with you all throughout the last few months of our journey here in the crypto sphere. Is been the Bitcoin price action and the market tops and bottoms that come in during Uranus stationed in retrograde. Something I've copyrighted, and if you see somewhere else, you better tell them. You better send them here, because they ain't doing it like us. They not like us. We are not the same, my friend. You hear me? So, with this being on the cusp of right at the end of the 36th week of the year, oh man, the 3-6 is 666. The 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons that make up every cell of every atom of your body. I'm just saying. That very anthropomorphized into a negative quantized number in the Bible, etc. You know, we're going to be paying attention to this week. Tied to Krypton, the 36th element. Tied to crypto. So, what an explosive week it is going to be. So as we break down the last 9 years of Bitcoin and Labor Day, and the Labor Day sales we see, the Labor Day sales we see shortly after the start of September. It starts the Ember months, pioneers, okay? Like a tree falling. I teach you this. I wrote about this in last year's blog, okay? National Preparedness Month. Are you going to be prepared? I'm telling you, I'm going to be prepared with that pioneer mindset, okay? So, September back in 2017, okay? Right before we saw the beginning of September bullish, okay? Leading into September was bullish. I'm not saying it can't be, okay? We're getting a little love in the price action, bouncing from that 107.3 right here that we've been talking about. But After Labor Day, we then had that Labor Day sale into September 15th, mid-September, before we ended the 2017-2018 cycle high. Okay, a year later, heading into the bear market, we saw that September. Anyway, it was bullish at the beginning, but shortly after Labor Day, we crashed down into another, same trading range we were in previously to the August run-up, But anyways, that September National Preparedness Month sell-off into the bear market lows shortly after Labor Day. Same thing, 2019, we shot up into Labor Day. And then September National Preparedness Month sell-off, okay? Same thing. We had sold off into lows, okay? This was one of the only years in 2020, after the C-19 pandemic, that I found we did not in the last 9 years, we did not fall below the Labor Day sell-off and the lows. So we need to pay attention to the lows we're getting right here. Do we fall below those this year? Okay, but here we are during 2021, right before we hit that 69K high in November. We hit Labor Day, one day before Rosh Hashanah and the Shemitah. And then, whop, bop, 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 bam, bang, we sold off into a Labor Day September National Preparedness Month sell-off. Okay, so right here in 2022, our bear market bottom, you guys, of the last cycle, the beginning of this cycle, right? We hit that Labor Day sell-off, okay, and then bounced right out of it, came right back down to trade for the rest of September, and then hit our lows in November, 1 year after our 69K high, which, if you guys remember, in my 2022 Wake Me Up When September Ends video, we shared with you all how we could see a 15K low Bitcoin, as Bitcoin was turning 15 years old in a 1 year span from the 69K high. So a major critical video that we shared 3 years ago in 2022. A shout out to our first ever Wake Me Up When September Ends tribute we did that year. A banger. We called Solana highs and lows. We called DOT lows that year, XRP 32 cent lows that year in that video. So go back and watch that. Anyways, heading into that 2023 time period, when we had hit that September Wake Me Up When It Ends period, we had saw that August fake out into that August shock that we know about, into that September timber lows and sell-off that came in lower after Labor Day. Okay, so again, after Labor Day, we keep hitting lows. Okay, so last year, the 9th year that we're talking about, heading up to the 9th year will be this year, really. 8 years now of data that we've been talking about. Labor Day 2024, we then hit that sell-off into the 6th. Okay, 9-6. That is Uranus stationed in retrograde today. Where are we 1 year from last year's lows in just a few days? Okay, this historical trademark find, I think, is going to be everything heading into now, December, and January through February of 2026. Okay, so here we are at Labor Day today. Looking at the code, I am not surprised to see September giving us that 103, okay? Right, pay attention, that is the number of Mercury, okay? So Mercury is the god of commerce and finance, and we are currently in, where's Virgo? Boom, boom, bang, bang. Virgo right now, which is ruled by Mercury, the god of commerce, where we tend to see these, let me get back to my chart, these September okay? V-shaped recoveries, okay? Not financial advice, but Virgo, these September V-shaped recoveries, okay? So not financial advice, but pay attention to Virgo right here, ruled by Mercury, okay? So all tied to September in Mercury right now and National Preparedness Month, giving us this very powerful 103. Okay, so again, I'm not surprised that the financial system is ran through the U.S. Treasury, giving us that same 103. Okay, or that our financial system is ran off of debt, okay, and credit. Okay, because if you don't want debt or if you don't want credit in this mercurial system, well, apparently you don't want money, right? So apparently we need to pay attention to what is going on, okay, right here, like September 19th. Well, let's go to that real quick. I don't want to lose this connection. I'll come back to it. September 19th, the day leaving 103 days left in the year during Virgo in September, National Preparedness Month, with these 103 connections. Okay, so again, this could be a rocky time period until, say, after the day leaving 103 days left in the year, heading into that 21st, 22nd microstructure reset, recycle every month that we've been teaching you about for years. Go back to the first Wake Me Up When September video I talked about 3 years ago. We were talking about the 21st, 22nd monthly reset, recycle then and before then. It's been in our thesis for years. So again, for me, this is a number of the universe, okay? 103. All right, this is a number I use as a compass in this space of the cryptocurrency, sector. It's a very important financial number in case you haven't noticed. But for me, it's like a circle of life number, correct? Giving us that same 103, I'll behave. But if I master this number, I'll become the alchemist. I can use my sorcery. You see what I'm saying right here? Pay attention to what I'm doing. So again, when we connect this number to President Donald John Trump, who runs our financial system right now, I'm just saying, not financial advice, I'm just saying, it gives us that same 103. I'm paying attention to him right now in the month of September as we come up on this blood moon eclipse. Anyways, so he was elected into office on 11/5. When we connect this date of the blood moon eclipse coming up to 11/5 election day, remember the 5th of November, it was 10 months and 3 days from the election, just a few days away after Uranus stations in retrograde. So again, I'm not saying dreams don't die in September, because they do, okay? But what I'm saying is that I think this is going to be a very powerful and volatile time period, okay? So this is all ran by, again, shortly after Uranus stations in retrograde, and what we trademarked as Satoshi's Uranian clock, or the Euro cycle, where the god of euphoria comes in. This could possibly be a bullish lead up to this time period, okay? Before we get a shock, a reversal, which is also what Uranus is, known for, that gut check, right? But with Jupiter being, from my understanding, 24 degrees in Gemini ruled by Aquarius, air sign, Gemini and air sign. Uranus in tropical zodiac is just stationed in Gemini back in July. You see what I'm saying? With Rahu at 23 degrees Aquarius on the 7th, creating basically this trine. Like, you guys, I'm just kind of bullish. Not financial advice, but I'll shut the fuck up. But, anyways, I'll behave. I'll slow down for a minute. Because again, we are talking about Uranus right here, okay? Which is another name for Uranus, or Kailus, okay? So, oh, I spelled that wrong. Uranus. Yeah. Where's it at? I got it in my notes. Sorry, you guys. Ouraanus. You are A-N-U-S. There we go. A-N-O-S. I'm sorry. I put the U instead of the O. Uranus, another name for Uranus, okay? So giving us all that 103. And again, you're probably wondering why this is, important. Because if you've been following along in the Discord, I've been sharing in a lot of my work, a lot of my charts, that we had to hold this $103,000, $700,000 range. $103,700 range. The 137, 33rd mathematical prime, basically. But it's a range of support that we may see test into this 93, 95, 97 time period, okay, or shortly after, okay? But again, it's all making sense in the month of September, giving us that 103, tied to Mercury and Virgo, etc. National Preparedness Month, all giving us that same 103, all right? Or with the 9/7 total lunar eclipse that we were talking about, how about the 103 we get in that? Sorry about the dogs. So what if we fall into 103K? So what if we fall into 103K as we head into this time frame? It wouldn't be nothing that we haven't already been preparing our pioneers for in the Discord on a daily, on a weekly, on a monthly basis, in classes, etc. Okay? So very important. Especially with this time period of the blood moon eclipse that is highly tied to this Donald Trump character that I've been breaking down in a decode as well for everyone. Alright, because recently he's came out and he's been seen to be, well, with more of a orangish hue, with this purpura on his hands, you know what I'm saying? These blood spots, etc. And we're talking about the blood moon eclipse, okay? So purpura, blood spots, giving us that 211, which is the 47th prime number, and he's the 47th president, tied to the 112, as above, so below, we get in Donald. Okay, I was sharing this on August 31st, 7 months, 11 days after his inauguration, which was exactly 223 days after I had found this picture and people talking about his health as we headed into the blood moon eclipse. Could we see an event around this character? They tried to take him out last year. What happens this year? Okay, this was 79 days into his 79th year of age, which we know is tied to the golden element. Could we again see some sort of connection here? All right, so again, this was 11 weeks and 2 days connected to, again, these connections we were getting here. I guess I didn't need that twice, right? So not surprising, Donald Trump giving us 138 tied to the blood moon on the 7th of September. Do we see a potential health event or scare type of event around the blood moon eclipse? Okay, giving us that 174, a number tied to Lucifer, or 74 tied to Lucifer in numerology. If you were to type that out, you get the same 74 in Jesus and Lucifer, right? Anyways, 47, as above, so below, he's number 47. This blood moon giving us 138 tied to, well, Donald Trump, 138. Is this our connection after we transition past Labor Day that we're headed towards that 138K? Or is this a angel of death connection tied to a Donald Trump event? Because this number 138 is tied, from my research and understanding, to the angel of death. Okay, so some would, Azrael, some would call it Azrael in certain, text, etc. But it just kind of makes you wonder what we could be seeing as we head into this blood moon eclipse. I'm not too shaked out about everything, because again, for me, this was all a part of where I built my thesis around, was coming out of the August shock time period. And, well, we've been following the rise into the heliacal rising, and sharing the Richard Nixon shock in our theory for working on our 7th year now, since 2019. Okay, so around the 13th to the 15th, where that took place in 1971. We saw our most recent top come in the market. And then we got the August shock. Dang. Anyways, are we about to get the Trump shock, you guys? Where he changes the financial system, because he shared that video that I've been breaking down and sharing with my pioneers, and I would have it pulled up, but I forgot to have it pulled up. But he came out recently and he said most Americans don't know that the financial system and the backbones that run it are completely outdated, that it's time for an upgrade. And well, here we are looking at the world debt clock, I call it the world debt clock, but the U.S. debt clock. And, it's kind of strange that, when you really do your own due diligence and research and you look at the PDF and everything, you see that it's copyrighted for its, edition and second edition, because the first world debt clock was shitty and it wasn't working. So the new financial system and the new debt clock is coming, and it's stamped for today, September 2025. Like, what is happening as we move into National Preparedness Month and Uranus stationed in retrograde? Because it's gonna be important, okay? Oh Lord. Bent. 1 second, you guys. The dog's done jumped down to the counter. Anyways, rowdy puppies, man. So, sorry about that if that was loud. But what is the revolution, the new money revolution that they have been sharing with us? Okay? They've already been coming back and saying that Americans can start to receive dividends off of these tariffs. What are we about to see heading into the fourth quarter? Because September is what sets us up for October, Bitcoin's birthday, November, the month of Bitcoin, the best performing month in the historical performance of Bitcoin, and then December, the darkest part of the year. 1 year after our, Black Moon that we had last year, where we did that Trump special, the Dark MAGA Black Magic Ritual, where we shared, how we could see Trump, heading into, we shared this in July of last year, but that's when we made that video, but it was aimed for December 30th, the Black Moon, right? And it was all about Trump winning the election last year, which we saw, a few months after July when I had released that video. So, it's very important, you guys. Fourth quarter is going to be everything, all right? So I'm going to look at the chat, you guys, and make sure we, don't have any questions to go over. We got Carasino in the house. Woo woo. Appreciate it. He said I'm epic, man. He or she said I'm epic. I appreciate that. You're epic. I wasn't that way until I met you. You know what I'm saying? So Modern Sword in the house. That's what's up. I love it. I love it. So, if you have any questions about what we've been talking about today, please, share it, so I can read it and we can talk about it, because we haven't even really broke the surface of what we've been wanting to talk about. Again, the V-shaped recovery in Virgo that we could be setting up for as long as we can break 109K, the resistance we've got there right now, and then get back above 112. And then, of course, break that support resistance flip at 117,400. Okay? So, until we do that, could post-Labor Day give us another low, like 8 of 9 years of the past 9 years of Bitcoin's data we shared with you at the beginning of this video has showed us. That Labor Day low we're at, but do we get that low? It would kind of follow in pattern with that autumn equinox that my cat's been telling you guys. Jazzy's been trying to share with you guys. It is everything. So again, Labor Day sell-off back in 2021, the last cycle high. Okay, Labor Day, Rosh Hashanah, the Shemitah, the low we got into the autumn equinox, which is 9/22 this month, the 21st, 22nd reset of September, right before the Rosh Hashanah Jewish Hebrew New Year. Okay, so that's right after 9/19, the day leaving 103 days left in the year, like I told you about. That's National Preparedness Month, September connections, Mercury connections, like we were just sharing. Okay, that potential event tied to Donald Trump, right? Between now and the 19th, I'd expect that, obviously. But what about that partial eclipse that we have in the end of September? If you got a total lunar eclipse at the beginning of September and a partial solar eclipse at the end of September, what happens at the autumn equinox time period? Okay, because it is everything. Like, I'm the only one in the world sharing this, you guys. Remember that. So, I'm the only one breaking down these autumn equinox connections post a Labor Day low. So again, 2020 was the only time we didn't get that. But it's that autumn equinox period that is everything. Your last of the last. Okay? So again, let's go back to 2017. That autumn equinox low post a Labor Day sell-off. So anyways, what do we see heading into 9/22 this year, like I've been sharing in classes in the Discord for the last several weeks and months? For all my pioneers that should be well prepared now. They were here getting them $124K highs. We were searching for that 126K tied to Bitcoin price discovery. Remember? So that 117K we hit off of this. Off of the Bitcoin connection, off of 117K, but the Bitcoin price discovery connections. So 117 hit again. That 126, we're just a few percent away from our 124K highs. Listen, you guys, we're watching historical liquidation precedent getting set right now with $15+ billion that could get liquidated if we hit 120K again. Like, come on. I'm just throwing this out there, not financial advice. Okay? So while everybody's freaked out about this blood moon eclipse, what does Uranus station in retrograde, one of the most historical finds we've ever found here, no one else in the world has shared with you, bring before we get that potential sell-off and National Preparedness Month shakeout that we've shared with you for years? This is nothing new to us. You know what I'm saying? So, I'll behave. Because everybody's wanting to talk about this blood moon eclipse. So again, let's go back in history, like I have shared with you in the past, you guys, that we've got to look past just a singular thing and event. So back in 2013, when the top came in, 31 days after a hybrid solar eclipse that we had on November 3rd, but yet our high came in on November 29th, right at the end of Uranus station in retrograde, as we got the reversal before we finished, like we've shared with you. Okay, way before that total lunar eclipse. I mean, way before. Here we go in 2017, 2018, so one cycle high, second cycle high. 46 days before the total lunar eclipse, we got our high. Okay, cool. We just got a 124K high in August. We'll talk about that in a moment. But this was 46 days before the total lunar eclipse and way after the Great American Eclipse in 2017. Okay, so the top came in on Saturnalia, the darkest half of the, not the darkest half of the year, that starts at Samhain, Bitcoin's birthday, but the darkest part of the year, okay? Merry Christmas, right? So, eclipse was 46 days past that, man. Here we are in 2021, the closest we had ever been to an eclipse having anything to do with the top coming in during a Uranus station in retrograde, okay? 9 days, 24 days if you count the total solar eclipse, but this was just a partial lunar eclipse where we had sold off from, you know? Anyways, so if we were to take the 31 days, the 46 days, and the 9 days in the last 3 cycles and get an average, add that up, that's 86 divided by 4, you're going to get 21.5. Okay? You know what I'm saying? So if we were to go from 9/7 and go 21.5 days before, 21.5 days after, you're gonna see something pretty important, you know, and it's gonna be close to right around where that top came in. 21.5 days. Right there around where that August top came in. So, I mean, is the top coming in August right here after the heliacal rising that we coached you through? Or is it going to come in 21 or so days after? Because if we add 31 plus 46 plus 9 plus the 24 day from the last cycle, say it didn't matter about the partial lunar, it was the total solar that gave us everything that we needed to know. If it was all about the eclipse, then it was 24 days before the top came in. I'm just saying. It ain't never been the eclipse date from what I've found here. So, anyways, if you add that, you're going to get 110 from the 86. So the last 4 cycles, you add the days. If we were to get an estimate of when the top's going to come in around the eclipse, you're going to get 22 days, which would take you exactly back to August 24th. And was it August 24th? No, August 13th and 14th when the high came in. So if you go from September 7th, 22 days back, you're right here at the top. So could that be it? If we were to get the estimate and mathematical, breakdown of where we could possibly see the top come in, it could have been there. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still bullish on, we haven't started Uranus station in retrograde yet and gotten through the autumn equinox, which is what history over the last 14 years has showed us. Okay? So, thoughts on BTC dominance? Well, I mean, I'm not surprised to see it bullish right now on the daily time frame, up to 58%. Maybe it goes to 63%. Okay, 61%, sets a lower high and then crashes. I mean, bear flag. You got that play out. You're probably going to create another bear flag and then watch that play out. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for 55.9, 55% to come in very soon. I mean, technically, I would want to eat up some of this fair value gap right here. That's retesting previous highs that we had. I just saying, that's what. So with crypto going down and the Bitcoin dominance going up, I'm not surprised to see this right now. You know what I'm saying? But this is just short term. I think we're about to continue to drain for the Bitcoin dominance. And then, like I've shared, once we get past 126K, you're going to start to see more expansion from your altcoins. I mean, with Ethereum reaching up, why haven't you already seen it? It just hit $4,800. A new all-time high. Okay? So it hasn't even really entered price discovery technically yet. You know what I'm saying? So until Bitcoin breaks 126K and Ethereum breaks into price expansion, probably after that 126K hit, that's when you're going to see your altcoin's new all-time high and reach into expansion once we clear 126K. So, I mean, just saying, not financial advice, but, that's what I think about Bitcoin dominance, that it's doing what it's doing, and it's going to probably hit 55% before too long. So, yeah. I just don't want to spend a lot of time on it. I think it's irrelevant. With 20 million plus cryptos now, yeah, it's become obsolete and irrelevant. It's something we look after the fact here now, so yeah, we're probably gonna. Well, I mean, look out for that 103, you guys. It's the bottom of this box that we've been sharing, okay, where we thought any lows could come in around this time period. Heading into Wake Me Up when September ends, National Preparedness Month, and, well, the Labor Day sales that we've been writing about in the background in our thesis. Now, it's the first day of September, so my pioneers haven't even got the breakdown yet. It's all on a live stream today. So as we transition through Labor Day and the rest of September, you're going to have to be prepared if you're in the Discord, okay? Because this has been something I've been waiting to bring to the table. I'm not taking a month off for September like I've historically done. Okay, there's too much going on this year and this cycle. Okay, so just looking at the chat checking some things out. So, we were recently talking about Labor Day giving us 138, getting the Labor Day sell-off right now. Not surprising, okay? Donald Trump giving us 138. Are we on our way to 138K as long as we can hold this 103K that we could be potentially back testing, okay? Only time will tell. Recently, we were sharing why we were seeing a sell-off 138 days after the lows had come in, okay, on April 7th, 4-7, alright, under the 47th president, okay, 138 days after that low, we were getting a sell-off, okay, which was exactly Saturday, August 23rd, 2025, the first start of college football season. Now, I'd come full circle back to last year when we ended college football season at 109K, sharing why we would be testing into 109K past this time period, coming back full circle to retest Trump's inauguration highs, okay? So that's pretty important. We want to see if we can get back above and start holding this $109,000 range. Okay, we need this to be a bear trap right here that, well, again, liquidates upwards of $15+ billion in the market if we were to hit 120K again. Okay, eat up some of this fair value gap in this large sell-off candle that we got on. Oh, imagine that, the Richard Nixon shock that we gave you. Okay, so very important. We've basically been breaking this move down. These bullish divergences on the 2-hour time frame, if you were to look at things like the RSI, you've got this low and a higher low with this low and a lower low in the price action. I'm talking about banger, okay? So we're looking to see this break out of this fallen wedge, 68% chance of a breakout, get back to the 223, 322 EMAs, probably get rejected, come back and hold that 109K, okay? And then break back up towards that 120K, okay, to liquidate those bears, right? Not saying we can't drop to 103, wick down to 97. Do we hit 97K as we head into 9-7 and the blood moon eclipse? Any fucking ways. Who knows? All right? It wouldn't be surprising. You know what I'm saying? So it's not going to shock us here. But we're looking for this action, okay? We've been mapping it out. So gold, not surprised to see it head up, but it's Sunday, or it's a 3-day weekend. You know what I'm saying? It's only September 1st. This candle's already reading Tuesday, September 2nd. Like, what the? Anyways, Tuesday tomorrow is gonna be lit. Cause again, septum in Latin is 7. September. It's the true 7th month of the Roman calendar. The true calendar we were supposed to be using. So again, if it's truly 7-2, that ties us to Bitcoin and the 72 we get. So tomorrow is going to be highly tied to Bitcoin as we head into 9-3, a date tied to Saturn, and we are still in Saturn's retrograde right now. Okay? Alright, who's the father of Saturn? Uranus. Okay, which Uranus goes into retrograde on 9-6 this month. The sky, the heaven god. So, as above, so below, I'm paying attention to this time period. Okay, and don't forget, 9-5, you guys, is the day leaving 117 days left in the year, tying us back into the volatility we could be seeing in Bitcoin. Okay? So this first week of September, I'm talking about banger after the other. Okay? And we're going to be walking you through the entire thing. Alright? But again, we're coming up on the 24th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. I had that pulled up. But anyway, the World Trade Center attacks. So do we get that attack in the market, attack in the geopolitical, sphere as we are in this very astrological, impactful time period? Okay, and I've got, been sharing some things with you guys. Been doing some work, sharing this time period. There's so much to, to weigh out right here as we enter into Libra? Are we about to get that historical V-shaped recovery coming out of September lows? Wake me up when the September lows are over. Or are we about to have to exit into that bear market? One of the two. The financial and universal scales of justice are literally about to weigh out right here as we transition into the 19th, the 21st, 22nd, the 23rd, the 24th of the month. I'm telling you, the autumn equinox is everything. Okay? But hey, what do I know here? I'm new. It's my first day here, okay? So, I've only got the most documented success rate in this crypto space game, okay? So, and you can throw that against anybody out there. I don't care who they are. You can look at my work and you can look at every thesis out there and compare mine to theirs. And I've just luckily had the eye to see where we're headed, okay? Time and time again. And that's not me bragging. I'm just taking pride in who I am. Alright? So, very important time period we're heading into. More questions in the Discord. Drop them down below. We got 8 people viewing for the last 42 minutes. I appreciate you guys. 9 likes. I love it. Alright. Oh, no. Sorry, you guys. I was trying to read the chat. Alright. Just looking over my notes, man, making sure we've got everything discussed. Man. So again, with the US debt clock and all the Trump talk that we've talked about, and everything resetting in September of 2025 as we head into this very critical time period, ruled by Uranus and the ruler of tech and blockchain and crypto, the god of cryptocurrency. It's just very important because dang. I'm just not surprised to see World Liberty Finance. Sorry, you guys. I'm just not surprised to see it launch today. Like, I'm marked safe from. I'm just saying, I'm marked safe from this, you guys. Like, you don't have to worry about Coach A felon. We didn't get psyched out. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not surprised to see World Liberty Finance launch today. Or like the speculation of it come out right here at the beginning of September. It's not surprising. World Liberty. Get the other N in there. It's not surprising. It's given us that 128 code that we've been talking about, projecting to 128K from our Independence Day rally. Independence Day giving us that 128. A lot of the things that we've been talking about since January 28th of 2025 as we transition into the Serpent year. Okay? So none of this was surprising, but is this another signal towards the mark of alt season that we've been breaking down with these 106 connections? It's just something I've got an eye for and I've been connecting to. So September 1st with the world debt reset going on, and the new money revolution that they're calling it, the golden age that Trump is moving us in. Is this World Liberty financial coin got something to connect us here to alt season? Because again, when we look at the US total debt, it's at that 106, connecting us to World Liberty Financial or alt season, etc. Okay, but it's just, anyways. We're not looking at the national debt. I was just talking about the U.S. total debt, unfunded debt / interest. Just connections I've been seeing with everything being talked about with World Liberty Financial and all right now as we enter September. Not surprising. Yeah. To the moon. To the blood moon, they say. So, anyways, man, for me, it's more important about Uranus station in retrograde this month. And I understand it's going to go in and out of retrograde. I'm not dumb. And the autumn equinox, man, that is historically where it's always been at. Just like, man, like, there were analysts in last December coming out here telling you guys that the top was in. Okay, last December. Now, I was calling for December 18th to be when we first de-risked. December 17th, December 18th. So we called that, literally. So, but we never said it was the top. Okay, ever. Alright, we were just calling a de-risking date. February 23rd was going to be our last, 20th and the 23rd was going to be our last de-risking dates. Or the 12th and the 21st. I'm sorry, the 12th and the 20th. And then we got that sell-off on the 21st, 22nd reset. So sorry. We had called these 3 dates to de-risk in our portfolio before we got ready to buy the potential 74K that we were calling, right? Back here. Alright? So, people were saying the top was in then. You know what I'm saying? And then they came out here and, you know, they tried to tell you that the blood moon eclipse on March 14th, Pi Day, was it was going to be the lows, you guys. You know, they had people out here thinking that was it. When we, the whole time, for over a year prior to this, were teaching you that it was all about, for years prior to this, actually, we've been teaching about cherry blossom season, which is where the true lows came, where we got to plant during cherry blossom season for this run-up. And then them same people and others are now out here trying to get you guys fared out of the market around this September blood moon eclipse, when they were wrong here, when they were wrong in December. You know what I'm saying, you guys? Possibly going to be wrong again here. You know, talking about this blood moon eclipse. And then I wouldn't be surprised if now they're, you know, going to say or have been saying that, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if a fourth quarter historical Bitcoin top comes in. Because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But, like, I don't know, man. I'll shut up. I'll behave. So, like, you've got to start following these folks that, you know what the fuck is going on. Like Coach Abe, who is historically called 3 to 69K, 69K to 15K, 15K to 64K. Alright? You know, and then the 74K, and then the 47Ks, and then, well, the 73K in last year, and then the 47Ks, and then the 74Ks that we just got this past year. Like, come on, you guys. Like, I'm just saying, do the work yourself, or pay attention to those that have actually done the fucking work. That aren't out here just guessing, and having to come out here daily and weekly to keep you interested in their work and paying their mortgage. And while I'm able to take months off from YouTube, only work in a Discord and private academy, and sit on the top, on the fucking throne. You know, so, come on. Yo, Edo, what up, bro? Good afternoon, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're ready for September. Wake me up when September ends. So, I love it, man. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Let's jam. Notice, you guys, I ain't mentioned a fucking thing about the FOMC meeting and rate cuts on 16th and 17th, 18th, whenever it is this month. Notice how that has not even made it in my thesis at all. Notice how all the importance has got to do with everything astrologically, numerically, date-wise, besides them dates, and price-wise, TA-wise. You know what I'm saying? Notice how none of that nonsense and distraction means a fucking thing. But how it's perfectly timed with everything else that, you know, if you have the eyes to see, you can perceive. So, I'm so glad that ain't nobody in the chat or nobody in my Discord been talking about rate cuts. Rate cuts! That lets me know I've been building fucking legends and pioneers. Not a fucking one of them have been bringing it up. Talking about it. For the September rate cuts! Boring. Next. I mean, I'm just saying, man. Don't pay attention to none of that distraction this month. I think it's 17th and the 18th. I could be wrong. But it's around that time period, man. So, be prepared. During National Preparedness Month. I know I've shared that 4+ years. Yo, what up, Modern? What are you doing, bro? What the heat maps looking like? You in the Discord? See if he has a moment to come on. Jazzy couldn't look earlier. We were testing 108,700, and she was like, I can't do it. She's been trying to tell y'all autumn equinox is everything. But see if he's able to come bring the liquidity maps in. If not, it'll be okay. Yeah, it ain't gonna let me unmute while I'm on YouTube. No, yeah, okay. But hopefully that didn't mess up the YouTube. Modern, there you are. Book maps, confirmed, switch. Yo, what up, my guy? How you doing, man? Happy belated birthday, that was yesterday, my friend. I can't hear you if you're trying to speak.
Hey, hey.
What's up, my friend? You doing good?
I'm good.
Good deal, good deal.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. I just figured we'd give it a moment for you to get on here and see if you were able to pull it up and we check out the book maps.
Yes. Trying to. There it is.
BTCUSPTMPPDRPFBMD by 20.
Yeah, want to break that 109K, that's for sure. That's where the liquidity's at right now. What's that 103 below us? Oh, yeah, there's a lot at 105 and 103. So not as much, but if we get to 105, we can head to that 102, 103 range where we see that red at, you know, 250 plus Bitcoin or so, 350 plus Bitcoin or so to sell down there, or orders to buy down there. I mean, sorry. But yeah. So everything to match that decode I was sharing earlier, basically, as we head into September. So we got to hold 103K for the month of September, you guys. And if we fall below it, it's fine. But where are we closing heading into August on the monthly? Where's your next large order up top? Besides that 318 you're seeing at 111. I was thinking it'd probably be around 315 or 115, 117. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bam.
Not surprising. That's 8. Yeah, that might be where we're headed first for another rejection. Bullish start to September. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if this eclipse gives us energy to put a new all-time high in, and then we sell off after. That 126, 128K, you know, that 138 we were decoding about in Discord tied to Donald Trump. Labor Day 138. So, I don't know, man. We'll see. Giselle, glad to have you. Appreciate y'all supporting and watching today, man. very educational and jam-packed September breakdown, you guys. Y'all know me, I know I get excited and you know, I spit it out, man. But if you have any questions, ask them in the Discord, ask them in the YouTube, you know, in the comment section. Hopefully I can break it down for you. Sell in May, walk away. Remember to return in September. May September shine like gold come December. Let's go. But remember, dreams do die in September sometimes, so. Donald Pump or Donald Dump? We're gonna find out. Hey, I shared, you know, kind of like, where was it at? I wasn't surprised to see this pump we were getting into today, you know. September. I'm sorry, that's not it. What was it? Labor Day. So Labor Day giving us that 138, and so did Bitcoin pump. A Bitcoin pump gives us 138 as well, tied to 159, same in Donald Trump, right? So very powerful. I wasn't surprised to see a Bitcoin pump on Labor Day. And then again, it might follow a historical shakeout where we are at lows past a Labor Day that are lower than where we were on Labor Day. So, like I said, 8 of the last 9 Labor Days has shown us a sell-off post Labor Day into the true lows, which for the cycles, 3 cycles prior to this, showed us lows into the autumn equinox time period of September. Wake me up when September ends. So, you know, it's just not surprising when we look at the 2-hour to get this pump. That could be a rejection from 109 that takes us to 103, okay? We're hoping that we get some sort of maybe a little impulse rejection. That'd be nice, but you know, that's hopium, right? We are in this falling wedge, 68% chance of a breakout, but if we're bearish right here, we're gonna get faked out of a bull pin, a bear pennant, a bear flag right here, sorry, and we'll break down into the true low, 103k, etc., and there we go. I would like to see a drawing of what's on your mind for price action, Chief. Okay, so I mean it depends. Alright, so let's go to this same chart, but let's break it down a little bit clearer. Let's get all the Elliott wave impulses and everything out of it. Let's go back to the 2-hour chart. Let's look at what we've been breaking down historically and find it. Okay, these are your autumn equinox lows that I'm expecting if history follows suit. Okay, so with Labor Day here, okay, our lows should come post Labor Day, but they typically come around, near, during, or post the autumn equinox, which is again Rosh Hashanah, the partial solar eclipse this year, everything. Okay, Libra, the scales of justice, where we are weighing out whether or not we're going to be in that bull market or bear market, right? Okay, so all during Uranus station in retrograde. So again, this is a bullish time period. History shows that. Yes, tops and bottoms historically for the last 14 years has came in, but it is also a tricky time period and known for reversals or fake outs, shakeouts. So I would not be surprised that again, with everything heading into this blood moon eclipse, if we are bullish, going against the fucking herd right here. Okay, so what happens over the next 5 days matters, because we could either go lower and then reverse into Uranus retrograde, or we are going to continue to go higher and then reverse after Uranus retrograde into autumn equinox before we then continue higher. Okay, so we can go, let me draw one that's yellow. And then I'll keep go higher. 117. We got to break the 119k resistance. We will break 124 into the 126, 28 into 138k is what I'm expecting before coming back down into the autumn equinox. Maybe it's a higher low like 2020. Okay, only time will tell. But these are kind of like some expectations of what we could see playing out into this time period of September. Me, I'm typically bullish and going against the herd that is, well, I mean, if you just look at the fear and greed index right now and everybody freaking out about this fucking blood moon eclipse, we're at fucking 46 on the fear and greed index. Like, I'm not bearish right here. I'm greedy right here. I'm going to be fearful when others are greedy. I'm going to be bullish. Okay? So, you know, that's me. That's kind of like the price action I'm expecting. Okay? You just got to wait and see what happens between now and 9/22, 9/23. We know how important 9/23 and that date is in movies and TV series and things like that. We've broken that down before. Others have decoded that date of 9/23 before Rosh Hashanah this year and, you know, the transition into Libra. Wow. Yeah. So, equinox is on the 22nd, which is where and when Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish Hebrew New Year, will start at sundown on the 22nd and run through the 23rd, 24th. Okay, so a 3-day event, basically. You see why this is so important. Okay, so that will be where they are either taking advantage and de-risking highs, or they are buying those autumn equinox lows after the highs that they've de-risked, either in August or coming up, right? They're just buying these lows before the historical run-up during Uranus stationed in retrograde. Okay? So, I mean, and if we crash because of an event around Trump or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Well, then, there we go. We got our event. We got our manipulation, you know, the trigger into the bear market, all around I mean, ever since last year, a potential assassination against, you know, a setting U.S. president, but I'll shut up. So, this would be the first time in 14 years that this is not true. This Uranus station in retrograde bringing the highs. So, with what I've found, 31 days, 46 days before and after the eclipse is when we've got tops in the past. I gotta give more to Uranus station in retrograde right here. You know, post an autumn equinox run up into a fourth quarter historical high. October, November, December. So, the sexy older lady, oh, that's Edel. Edel, you shared this. Are you talking about that blonde-haired financial lady's videos that you've shared that I've just never checked out yet? Yeah, the V-shaped recovery in Virgo in September. Yeah, you like that? I like that too. Huh. Bitcoin losing. Live. Yeah, we're selling off, you guys. We're getting rejected from that 109k. Faked out. So, we're going to toss that to the side. Alright, so be looking for that 103k, that 97k heading into 9.7. Okay? As low as 88k is what we would expect. 88 to 93k if 79 at the extreme, tied to Donald Trump being 79 years old, right? Those would be the ranges if it gets bloody for the blood moon eclipse. Alright, So, getting this 107 back test right now. Once we start closing below 107,300, just go ahead and, you know, get ready to short, I guess. Not financial advice, but it's looking like it's going to reset that daily. Looking like it's going to reset that daily RSI, and that's what we've kind of been watching. If the 2 hour wasn't going to hold us, then the daily RSI is going to, boom, capitulate, reset. Where's the daily 223, 322 EMAs? Right there at 103K. You see what I'm saying? So 223 EMA at 103K, 322 EMA at 96. Uranus station in retrograde on 96. Okay? So pay attention to these ranges. Alright, 92, 93K tied to Saturn. Alright, and then of course 79K to 88K, all tied to, those two are tied to Trump. So, but they're technically allowed. I mean, there's fair value gaps, smart money concepts there that we can back test into. I mean, it's not just tied to Trump numerically, okay? It's got more to it, but it's just easier to explain. But with that being said, you guys, if I have no questions in the chat, man, we're gonna get ready to head out of here, man. Land this spaceship, man. We've been on for an hour and 6 minutes. Oh, good God, what have we been doing? We just talked about that number. Crazy. But we'll end it at 107, man. The Master Chief number. But yeah, much love, much love. Well, crypto equals 97 in numerology, but you brought up crypto equaling 92, and that's not quite right, but it can be, because again, Uranus gives us that connection to, oh, it's not 92, it's uranium. Uranium giving us that 92. It's the 92nd element. Uranus tied to uranium is the god of crypto, of tech, of blockchain. So that 92 does matter, yes. Okay, but it's uranium and crypto and serpent that give us that 97 connection. Okay. Tied to Trump being 79 years old, or tied to the gold element, you know, right here. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that, though, Edel. Great question, though. But Pioneers, I hope you got a lot of value out of this video. I hope you're ready for a jam-packed September, and one that we are going to be ready for each and every day moving forward. Okay? There's some things I did not share in this video that I'm going to be sharing moving forward. But I mean, I take pride in what I do, you guys. 18 22-hour days for the last 12 plus years, learning, teaching, building a craft and skill. And September is just, I found to be no ordinary month in the markets, and it begins with Labor Day, you guys. And you know, a huge part of my thesis is the Labor Day sale, and leading into, you know, a holiday tide with seasonal shifts in sentiment and liquidity. And you know, it's time where traders return from that summer vacation. Sell in May, walk away. Remember to return in September, where the volume increases. Okay, and it's historically where we've seen important trend changes emerge in tech, US, etc., all during September, right as we, you know, fittingly are ready for the US to head into the fourth quarter. So it's that National Preparedness Month deemed here in America, which aligns, you know, poetically with the need for us traders and investors to stay, you know, vigilant and stuck in our thesis, you know, do our due diligence, right? The preparedness and National Preparedness Month, that it's literally right there in the name, right? And when we're in these markets, we have to have that plan, that exit strategy, that blueprint, that thesis, you know. We've got to have our portfolios designed, ready to go, ready to, you know, take advantage of, take action with, right? knowing the risk, the lies, where the opportunities are, and even where the ones may emerge. So be prepared for the sudden volatility is all I'm saying. It's universal celestial time on the calendar where we get to amplify volatility, and especially with 2 eclipses this year, a total lunar eclipse and a partial solar eclipse, with the trine that we were talking about around this time period as we transition into our Uranus station in retrograde all the way into the autumn equinox, like the transition into Libra. You guys, wild cards are about to come, you know, and I think, you know, that's important, because wild cards have been known to win the Super Bowl before. And so just be ready for hidden truths to be revealed, or disruptions, major shifts and shock events during Uranus station in retrograde. And I'm not just talking about in financial astrology, but I'm talking geopolitically as well, on the world stage, war narratives, earthquakes, floodings, etc. Okay? So we know these eclipses, during eclipse season, they often line with price reversals and accelerations, but I think this year the light and shadow cycles ruled by the sky right here, by Uranus, are going to be pretty tough on the psyche. You know what I'm saying? On the mind. They're going to be tricky, especially for Bitcoin and risk assets, you know. So be ready for opportunities and dangers as well, is all I'm saying, you know, like we've been talking about basically this entire video. Mainly, I think with that Uranian impact right here, the Euro cycle. Blow off tops are not going to be easy, you know, to manage, you guys, right? They're going to be shared, they're going to be scary, they're going to be your fork, and then they're going to get scary again, right? Sentiment change, that fear now, or we about to be greedy again, right? But yeah, just waiting on the sun to enter Libra and the autumn equinox, I think, and you know, we should be all at post Rosh Hashanah, you guys. Come October next month and Bitcoin's birthday, you know, where do we set it? 17 years old, ran by Trump, you know. People time to that QAnon movement, Q, the 17th letter, Bitcoin turns the 17th next month. Heading into November, Bitcoin's historical month of, well, its most historical bullish price action ever. They deem it the month of Bitcoin in November, so you got 11/7 in November, 117 tied to Bitcoin, right? The highs that came in on the 10th of 2021 on the 314th day of the year, Pi, right? What happens on Pi Day this year? So, you know, so much to unpack moving forward, you guys. And I promise you, I'm going to continue to strive to be the greatest out here in the game. You know, the Wizard of Charles, I tell you. Coach Abe, the Master Chief of Crypto and the Wheezy F of Crypto, the first inductee into the Hall of Fame. You know, I take pride in that. Every nomenclature and name that everybody gave me, you know. You touched my heart and soul. So, to you legends, and yeah, it's now below to you legends, I love y'all, thank y'all. Yeah, XRP is now below $2.72. It's okay as long as we don't start losing $2.62, and even if we do, as long as we can hold $2.36 to $2.23, then it's no different than the previous bear market bottom back here in 2022. Back in a Wake Me Up When September Ends video. You know, that there was retest of that 32 cents, 2022. Okay. Let's go to the daily. 2022 lows. 32.2 was our range where we were teaching you to buy at. Maybe it wasn't the full low, but I mean, you ain't arguing with it, right? You know what I'm saying? Especially when you look at it now, and so from 322, all right, close enough. 1,000% is what we've hit a high of. Currently sitting at 272, up 760%. Like, we ain't tripping. You know, a $2.23 low is going to be nothing but compared to a 32-cent low in September of 2022. You know what I'm saying? For me, it's all about that, holding the 223, 322 EMAs on the daily time frame, and we might be hitting those. You know, so especially if this 200 loses this 223, that's the SMA. If it loses this EMA, it's because price action's already lost it. You know, so be looking for 230, 231, 237, 236, 223 at the lowest, and you're gonna be lucky if you get to the 322 EMA to get that. So if 272 does not hold, don't get freaked out. You're just resetting the daily RSI. Your MACD's getting ready to flip bullish again. Before long, like, it's not going to continue to hang out here long. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. Take advantage of these lows is why you got it. Not financial advice. Because you're about to get a bounce at the very least. You know? So, alright, you guys. I'm headed out. Much love, much love. You can throw a dart at the alt board and just about hit in a low that we could potentially be getting. And wake me up when September ends, bull. Alright. XPR, metal, flare, stronghold, velo. Like, just things I'd be bullish on getting. Things we've been talking about. So, I don't know, but I'm headed out. Much love. Love you guys. Pioneers rise. Build your fortress. Build your legacy. Let's go. Hour and 17 minutes.